Good afternoon. I'll be going very quickly forward. We're going to talk about our focus for the World Summit 2020 and how we're working to bring heads of state. We've been working with President Clinton's people, and also we have very good communication going on with President Bush and President Obama, and also with President Trump. We have many avenues of relationship with President Trump right now. One of the key ones is this religious leader, Reverend Paula White. She's the main religious advisor for the president, and we met her many years ago before she was involved in politics at all. And she is very moved by our movement and understands quite a bit. She spoke at Madison Square Garden just before Mother Moon gave her address. And met Bishop Stallings and all of our people. We met many, many times. And she came to the Washington Times, and she and her husband are really standing strong. And she had an exclusive interview at the Washington Times with Chris Dolan, the president of the Washington Times, and David Sands. And that went right to the White House. So the president knows a lot about that friendship. And the CEO of the Washington Times, Larry Beasley, had a private meeting with President Trump recently with his wife, and he was called back 3 times when he started to leave the room. And then Charlie Hurt, the commentary editor of the Washington Times, he has regular phone calls with the president, and there's a lot of trust developing. So as you can see here, it took a long time for the Times to secure the exclusive with the president, because our Times reporters, especially Steve Diamond, is very tough and asks tough questions and doesn't easily just support whatever the president feels or thinks about things. That's why they couldn't get an exclusive for a long time, because our reporters ask difficult questions. They want facts. But finally, there was a good relationship developed, and this is when the first exclusive occurred. And the Washington Times was on his desk at that time. And then recently, right when we had the rally at Kintex on May 17th, I was sent this by the president of the Washington Times, Chris Dolan. On Air Force One, President Trump was giving an interview right here. And if you notice, the newspaper under his elbow there is our newspaper, affiliated with UPF. It's a great thing. There's a stack of newspapers there that you can see which one's on top. And these are the following are confirmed for February 2020. We've confirmed Vice President Cheney, and we've confirmed Speaker Gingrich, and we've confirmed Prime Minister Harper from Canada, thanks to Franco. And Speaker Gingrich and Vice President Cheney had a wonderful experience with the World Summit, so we can be sure the 2020 World Summit is going to be transformational, and people will be greatly inspired, heads of state and others. I saw it with my own eyes, with this wonderful, experience they had. And the summit is a very respectful atmosphere. What touched Vice President Cheney a lot was the fact that the Vice President of Iran was in the same room with the former President of Israel. That's unheard of. And yet the atmosphere was one of great respect for one another. That's how we can bring peace. Also, Vice President Cheney and Speaker Gingrich had a wonderful time and met many of the African presidents that they've known over the years. Just great. And Congressman Burton, the IAPP co-chairman, he has really been transformed by this IAPP. He believes in it, and he knows it's working. And when he introduced Mother, he had such a feeling of hope, and he's getting stronger that way. And it's growing deep in the hearts of all of our delegates. I can see everywhere, every country. So that's how we're preparing, and we're inviting all the top religious leaders. We're also inviting first ladies, vice presidents. There's many on the list. But also friendship is the most important thing, I think, to develop the trust. So it was very good that Congressman Burton's wife, Dr. Samia Burton, who's a total believer in UPF and Mother's work, Mother Moon's work, is a good friend of Mrs. Gingrich. So these friendships can't be changed or can't be underestimated or understated, because they are very critical for how we go forward. Trust really opens the door. So that's why I just want to, say how much we are in so much awe or really amazed by Mother's ability to decide who should be the co-chairman of IAPP or that kind of thing. Because when she chose Congressman Burton, it wasn't like there was any discussion going on. It was really, she let Dr. Kim know and it happened. But she could see something. Same with Senator Hatch. Senator Hatch is working with us. Of course, from the summit came very good articles. Newt Gingrich wrote an excellent article respecting the summit. And so did Christopher Hill, who's the ambassador to Korea, and Joseph Tetrani, top security person. And the Times did a great piece on former Vice President Cheney calls on Trump to study Reagan's Cold War efforts. And our contacts at the White House said that his message did have an impact. If you notice, Reagan walked out on Gorbachev and Trump walked out on Chairman Kim. So IAPP, just how we're developing, always education is so important. I'd like Dr. Gelini to stand up for a moment. Dr. Gelini came through the IAPP conference. He's a chairman of the Family Film Institute and working with us now. This is his first conference in Korea. But I just show these slides just to emphasize the education that we're all doing in every continent. There's Congressman Salmon and others. Of course, Mr. McDivitt, our chairman, Reverend Dunkley, all of our key people. And here's the former Deputy Speaker of the Knesset. He was current Deputy Speaker at that time, Hilik Bar. Hilik, could you stand, please? We had wonderful meetings after that. Let's give him a hand. We had wonderful meetings after that with Congressman Burton. So these educational forums of IAPP and IAPD together are very, very, very significant. And that's why the trust and the friendship, I can't overstate that, because we are now working with Senator Hatch closely. And he is retired from the Senate, but he's not retired because he has his Hatch Foundation. There's Congressman Doolittle and our others there. Of course, Larry Moffett plays a very central role in all this. And then the fact finders, chaired by one of the most respected people on intelligence, Joseph Tetrani, Congressman Burton are our co-chairs. This is a recent trip in May. We also had the former director of the CIA with us, Ambassador Woolsey, and we were welcomed to the U.S. military. Behind us there is a Camp Humphreys in Korea, where the main military is for the UN, U.S. troops, and those are THAAD missiles behind us there. So we've had these fact finders. Went to the Blue House, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, many, many times. But when you go and you have somebody who supports UPF, like the former director of the CIA, Ambassador James Woolsey, then the foreign minister, Ms. Kang Kyung-hwa, is going to pay a lot of attention. Also, Dr. Mandrell is a very respected scholar and expert in intelligence. He's on the end of this row here. This was at the foreign ministry. When you have these kind of people sitting across from the foreign minister and others, it makes a huge impact. So that's a kind of fact-finding background. And of course, we went to the National Assembly, thanks to Mr. Song, and also to Yonanen for UPF's work. There's Chairman Yoon. Yesterday, we were called by the Minju Party, and we had a Korean-Japan trade conflict meeting here. And it was really amazing. It was amazing. They had met us before, but this is a new committee of the National Assembly of the Minju Party under President Moon. And this committee is working on the challenge of the trade conflict with Japan. And they wanted our help, and we had a very serious talk about how we can remedy the situation or how we can help. And that's also Kim Hyun Chung, who's the Deputy Security Advisor for President Moon. He met us at the Blue House last time, and then he came out to the bus to get Ambassador Woolsey's phone number. And then he called us when he got to Washington 3 weeks ago and had a very special meeting on the Japan-Korea trade crisis. We met the ambassador of the United States to Korea, these kind of things. And then we always take it back to the Foreign Affairs Committee. And on Capitol Hill, we have these conferences with our congressmen and with our intelligence experts, and it's really powerful. There's Joe Detrani and others. So, then of course the religious side, I just want to say how much I'm inspired, and America's inspired by the work you're doing. These religious leaders are really coming along like Prophet Hadabeh did. Like suddenly somebody's touched and they have the ability to draw 100,000 people together. President Goodluck Jonathan was there. It was a wonderful occasion. And Mother Moon blessed the couples there. But most importantly, people are prepared by God. That's what we're finding. So just like that, in America, Bishop Noel Jones, a megachurch pastor who's widely respected, also came forward in the same way. And we had the different rallies, and now another new bishop has become deeply inspired, Bishop Don Mears, who's a megachurch bishop. And we had the Madison Square Garden and Nassau Stadium and Noel Jones Church, where 10,000 gathered. And then we had Las Vegas, which was an amazing phenomenon. So it's growing. This movement is growing, and the religious leaders are coming forward. So now Bishop Mears has invited Mother to come to his church in November. He's a mega church in Maryland. And then finally, we're going on to the Prudential Center for 30,000. And then finally, we'll go to Kintex for the World Summit, the victory of our true parents and our work for UPF, IAPP, IAPD. Thank you.